Welcome to Park Bench Interviews, hosted by Randy Goodman, Harvey Callis Real Estate, your real estate professional. Get to know our community, our businesses, products, and services that will elevate your life. Please welcome your hostess, Randy Goodman.
It's Randy Goodman from Harvey Callis Real Estate, and I am honored to be here with Maureen Tabuchi, who is a lawpreneur, a longtime friend, and just an incredible woman overall. And I can't wait for you guys to get to know her. Thank you so much for being here with me.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, our favorite time. Randy and I are both early morning risers. And I'm wearing my sweatshirt, my Empowering Women to Succeed. Because you forgot to say, Randy, that I was an author in the first Empowering to Succeed book. And I can't thank you enough, Randy, for that. Like, I feel kind of emotional today. I just feel I have such a bond with you. I'm so grateful to you. And yeah, thank you, sweetheart, for everything that you've done for me. I mean, we started out as good friends, 20 some odd years ago? Actually, maybe more, but I think it's
like 25-ish, yeah.
Wow.
More, closer to 30, I think. Oh, love you. So Maureen, you are, I mean, we started out in a kind of a funky, funny world, and then it went into karate, and then it went into book writing and publishing, and just, it's amazing to see the transition of different things that your friends go through. So it's pretty awesome. And so tell us a little bit about who is Maureen right now and what do you do?
Oh, okay. So for anyone who is wondering what it's like to get old, it is freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome. I'm 55 years old and I feel like that's a gift. Like I feel so in control of my world. My whole life I felt out of control and always like searching and trying to meet up to other people's standards. And then around that 50-ish time, like I had a severe midlife crisis at 40. And then, the 10 years after that, just kind of like damage control. But now I just feel like I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. And it's so empowering.
Yes.
Like it's the freedom to live your own life on your terms.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you turn the lens from pointing at you to pointing to the outside world and how you can make the world a better place. That's the stage that I'm at. And I saw that happening with my in-laws and parents and other older people when I was younger.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, what's about this give back thing, and now I'm entering that phase of my life where I'm kind of, I feel like a complete package. And now I'm looking at the outside world of what I can do. And luckily, part of that is my career. I am not one of those people that live for the weekend, who I was talking to a lady the other day who's recruiting new team members for me.
Okay.
And she was asking, she started out by talking about people who they have their work and then they have their passion, and the passion is what they do on the weekend and after work.
Right.
And
right.
I just feel blessed that, like, on the weekend, what can I do to improve my processes, or interviewing new team members and that kind of thing. Like, that's my passion is my work, and that's the way that I'm able to give back. So you said at the beginning, I'm a lawpreneur. So I have my own law firm, but it's different from most lawyers. It's different from most law firms. And it sounds so cliche, like, oh, we care. But seriously, we're really out to help people. And, whether it's someone doing a refinance because they've got a lot of debt, which now we're in, probably after the apex of the COVID-19, a lot of people are going to have to look at refinancing because,
Right.
or maybe selling because of financial issues. So, like, that's not a transaction that is void of emotion. Let me
Okay.
tell you, it's like, I feel like I'm part therapist and part lawyer. Yeah, and so just to finish off, like, I feel like my gift to the world is being able to take this complicated legal stuff, tax stuff, and just make it understandable and take the stress off of people. Just
Right.
take the stress away, because I'm an expert now. I do that kind of stuff every day.
Mm-hmm.
So just some of that heavy weight on me, because I can, it's so simple for me, but for a client, maybe it's their first time dealing with it.
Right.
So that's kind of what I do. I'm so happy that with technology now, that I don't have to be sitting in an office. Like,
Right.
I'm sitting here wearing my sweatshirt and the virtual office clothing. Who knows what I'm wearing on the bottom?
Exactly. So yeah, you have all this expertise. You're so down to earth. You are not like other lawyers that I've known in my life. And there were lots in the family and there were lots of friends and whatnot. So, and I love that about you. I love how grounded you are. You know exactly what you want and where you're going. You're brilliant and you're fun. You like to have fun and enjoy your life. So I love that you've kind of encompassed everything that you do into the things that you love. So tell us, like, and I know law is something people typically go from high school to university and that's what they're going to do. So is that the process you took, and were there other tangents from there?
No tangents whatsoever, because I was 13 years old and I said, I'm going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I did. My guidance counselor gave me an aptitude test. Like, you answer
Yeah, yeah.
600 questions. And it came back a politician or a lawyer, and a politician. Can't do
That's
that.
not happening.
Lawyer. Then it was like my whole life became clear, because you can imagine me as this precocious little 7-year-old, like telling other people what to do, and just kind of being a bossy. I was like, how they have the coys phrase now, the phrase coined now, bossy bitch. Like, I was the OG bossy bitch, just walking around this little kid, and it kind of became clear that, yeah, like, it requires a certain amount of confidence, because you want people to listen to you. So anyways, straight through high school, and I remember you need a certain mark to get into university,
Right,
more so now than back then,
right,
but even back then. So, basically I kind of had fun in high school, and did the sports and the partying. And then it came to, we had grade 13 back then, 5 years, and I needed the marks to get in. And so my mom had tried to quit smoking at one point, and my dad said, listen, Pat, if you can quit smoking, I'll give you this. And it was one of those kind of brownie orange $1,000 bills. And he took a
right.
little tap and he taped it to the wall. And I said, Dad, I want one of those. If I'm an Ontario scholar, will you give me one of those? And he
Well,
said, yeah.
nice.
And so that was the first time in my life that I became familiar with goal setting, and having something like this carrot dangling on a stick, that is something that you work towards. And honestly, since then, I've made sure that I've had these dangling carrots to work towards because they
Right.
work. I was well over 80% average because I wanted that $1,000 bill, like just the concept of it.
Yeah.
So anyways, flying colors into university, and then, you know, to get into law school, it's hard work. There's something called the LSAT, and a lot of people ask me, oh, like, how'd you do so well on the LSAT? And well, here's how I did so well on the LSAT. I did an LSAT test every single Saturday morning at 8 a.m.
Wow.
Look at us here,
Yeah.
Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And the test, it's a 5-hour test. I did
Wow.
one every single week for a year.
Wow.
Because here's the thing, like, if you want something, you have to like be so comfortable with it that it's just natural. It just
Right.
happens. Like, if you want something, it's not going to happen if you feel that it's outside of your capability, or it's just not going to happen.
Right.
So that's how I got into law school. Once I got into law school, I never looked back. And I mean, again, back then, once you were in, it was just doing the work. There wasn't really any, oh my God, I have to, you know, get this mark, or I won't pass, or I won't
Right.
become a lawyer. Back then, it was kind of like, once you were in, it was just doing the work. And you know, I worked hard in those days. My parents didn't have money, or maybe they had money, but they didn't believe in giving me money for school. So
Right.
I waitressed for fun to
Wow.
put myself through school. So I didn't, my social life was my work.
Right.
Like waitressing is fun. The cool thing about waitressing, and I would waitress 2 jobs for 4 months during the summer. And at the end of the summer, I would be like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm not going to be a waitress for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know, nothing against someone who is a career waitress, because
Right.
hopefully that's your passion. Because that's the big thing, right? Is
Yeah.
if you're not living and working your passion, if you're waiting for next week or next month or next year until you can then live your passion,
Right.
listen, I gotta, you're taking a risk that I don't think is worth it. The risk, COVID-19, like 2% of the population could pass away.
Right.
So many people in my life have passed away, and that's kind of been a blessing too, to teach me, live each day like it could be your last, because
Right.
it very well could be. And you know me, Randy, I live each day. And so then I was home for a period of time with my kids, because I thought that was important. So I was home for 10 years. And the little buggers, like, now they were like, oh, I don't really remember like the things you did. And I'm like I was, you know, Martha freaking Stewart, like making their clothes and cloth diapers, and you know, everything was made from scratch. And
But
but
what do you
oh my
mean you
God,
don't remember?
exactly. I'm like, anyways, they're okay. They seem to have turned out not too bad. And then I was at this point in my life. Okay, so what am I going to do? And I was always very interested in tax, because my dad would talk business at the dinner table, and he would talk about, you know, this. Oh, we're being audited for this CRA, by the CRA, for this capital gains on farmland issue. And funny enough, we were just talking about that, about one of your clients the other day, and he got audited and he won, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's so cool. So I got this taste of success and tax, and how cool and how fun it was.
Right.
And then I was an early user of computers. Like, I
Okay.
had one of the first personal computers way back then. I was on the internet, and one of the first, and I remember getting an email with this master's of tax degree, and I was like, that's the coolest possible thing. So I got into the Masters of Tax program, and then that was a introduction into the tax world. So
Right.
then I got a job because it was a co-op program. So then I'm working at the highest level in mergers and acquisitions tax, and it's
Wow.
fantastic. But here's what I missed. What I missed is that tax part was filling the analytical side of who I am and the
Right.
food that I need to be a happy person.
Right.
But the part that was filled was the personal connection, the personal interaction, and me really feeling like I was making a difference in the world. And that was part of the age 40 midlife crisis that happened. And it was like whammo, because I was just like, what do I do? Who am I?
Right.
I'm not making a difference in the world. I'm not feeling satisfied, because after 5 years of doing all this billion-dollar deals, the novelty just like was gone, and what was left, and there was nothing left, and I felt like this empty shell. And that's when I started to piece my life back together, making sure that what I did was feeding my soul. And I did the Tony Robbins program. I recommend that for everybody, the Unleash the Power Within.
Right.
And I thought when Tony came to Toronto in, was that like 2008 or something like that? Or maybe a little
He's
bit
come a
later.
few times, so.
No, but I don't think he's done the Unleash the Power Within program.
Okay, maybe not. Yep.
Program, because when I did it again with my significant other, and then I did it again with my daughter, we had to go to Chicago and the States to do it, because I don't think he's done that in Toronto.
Okay.
I
was just meaning he came to Toronto. I didn't realize about the program. Yeah.
So I recommend that for anyone who is kind of like searching for what they need to do, because it's good. It strips you away. And another really good program that I've done is Landmark. Okay, so Landmark really does strip everything away and allows you to start from, the very, very, rubble of your existence, and piece things back together about what's important to you, what do you want, how are you going to give back, how are you going to fill your soul. So like, it's not an accident, I don't think, that I'm this like happy overflowing person. Like, I did the UPWs, Unleash the Power Within. I did the Landmark. I did the therapy. I think everyone needs a therapist. Like,
Right.
there's actually a thing called, growth something. It's this app, and it's thousands and thousands of therapists all over the world. And it's like, Uber, but instead of grabbing a driver to where you want to go, you grab a therapist to help you to where you want to go. I know. Is that cool? I'll send you the, actually, maybe it's on my phone here. But here's the thing, like, things don't happen by, it's called BetterHelp. Okay, the app is BetterHelp. It's, I don't know, like $350 a month. And you've got a direct line, a direct helpline to a therapist. And
cool.
I highly, life doesn't happen by chance. So that's kind of my, tidbit of what I would say to somebody. If you're interested in getting into law, now you got to be a good test taker, because obviously you need the marks. You need to do the LSAT, which that I've already given you the recipe to succeed at that, which is just do the test.
Right.
But yeah, like it's harder. It's more competitive. There's more lawyers. And it used to be, Randy, that if you were a lawyer, it's like, oh, like you're rich. You're like doctors, lawyers. Let me tell you, life in 2020 is not like that anymore. being a
Right.
lawyer is a business, and you schlep and you like go over business processes, and you know, look at team members and KPIs like any other
Right.
business. It's not a license to print money. In fact, it might be even, well, whatever. My own little violin story here. It might be harder because a lot of people think, oh, like you must be just caking it. Yeah, it's not like that way. It's like one will package at a time, honestly, as far as business success.
Right.
And you know, the Empowering Women to Succeed program that I did with you, that really, really helped me get my name out there, and helped my business succeed, because a financial planner will refer a client to Tabuchi Law to get their will done, and then somebody else will refer them to Tabuchi Law, and they're like, who is this Tabuchi Law? I got to meet this Maureen. So it's about, in business, I think it's about getting your name out there. It's about branding yourself.
Yes.
And so Empowering Women to Succeed definitely helped me do that. But
That's
that's
awesome.
kind of,
Maureen, like, why would you have decided to write a book? I know you're in the first book, like you mentioned before, Empowering Women to Succeed, and I was so honored to have you there. Why would you have decided that, you know, writing a story or sharing a story is something that you should do?
well, so I, when you approached me about being in the book, I already had a couple of books on the go.
Right.
And so, and when you said, do you want to be part of this book thing that I'm doing? I was like, I want to be part of whatever you're doing. So I got to be honest, I didn't specifically say, oh, I'll be in a book and it will get me this and that. I don't know if you remember the phone call, but all I remember is, Randy, where do I send the money? I'll do whatever you want me to do, because I knew you, I knew your track record. I knew that whatever
That's
you
so
put
sweet.
your hands on was going to succeed. And I wanted to get on that train
Right. Thank
going to
You're, you're so sweet, and I'm so honored to have you. And it's like, you know, it's such a good feeling when someone has that feeling about you, which mutually we both do, right? And it's just such great, to me, I call it mental income. It's just such great mental income to have people in your life that just say, you know, whatever you're doing, I want to do it too, because I just trust in the process and I trust in you. And that's a much more incredible feeling than anything, to be honest with you. So thank you for that. Yeah. But you were saying that it did have
I
an effect on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, huge. It had a huge effect on my business. But back to what you said about like someone saying to you, whatever you're doing, I'll do it. I think that's almost, it should be like I'm into these KPIs nowadays, because
Yeah.
I'm really working hard on my business.
Right.
And like a KPI should be, how many people do you have in your um, audience, like your client base, who feel that way about you?
Right.
And absolutely, when people say that to me in line with my business, like there's some people who will call on the phone and you have to sell them. You
Right.
have to say, Maureen Tabuchi, I'm a lawyer, here's my credentials, here's how we're different from other law firms.
Mhm.
And then there's other people who, you know, have like drank the Kool-Aid because someone has referred them, someone's
Right.
had the experience, and they're like they're not asking how much does it cost, they're
Right.
like, where do I sign up?
Right.
How do I want to I want to retain you as my lawyer, how do I do that?
Mhm.
That's like a KPI. How many people can I have who just not blind followers, but just, I guess,
They're your
unconditional support?
A-list. They're your referrers. They're the people who trust you and love you and believe in you and are passionate about you. So when they talk about you, they are so convincing because they believe what they're saying, which is true, that you've convinced somebody else. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and just through conversation of building you up and building you up and saying, I'm going to call you and ask you a question and whatever, right away looks at me and says, are they looking for more clients? You know, are they interested in taking me on as a client? And I said, I will ask, you know, but it just comes from like the passion that I have for you and the way I would talk about you to somebody else and how brilliant you are and, you know, how down to earth you are and how easy you are to talk to and to work with and all that, you know, I could go on and on and on and on, but just when someone sees a true, authentic passion, right, about someone else, or when you actually have that feeling, it isn't a question. It isn't what's the price tag, right? Like you said, it isn't, you know, questioning anything. It's what the heck is their contact information and get me in touch with them. Right?
Yeah, it's like unconditional support. It's the exact same thing that I felt about you when you made that call to ask me if I wanted to be part of the book. I was like,
Thank you.
done. I'm in.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm telling you, the feeling that somebody gets when people around them have that feeling about them is so special. You can't buy that. You can't, you know, you can't grow that. It's just organic, right? It's either there or it's not there. And I think it's a testament to like who you are and who you are in your life and how you help other people and, you know, just making certain people just love those things about you. And I love those things about you, Maureen. So tell us a little bit, because I mean, it's amazing because you don't find a lot of people that just have this all around completely holistic incredibleness about them. So um, you know, you're brilliant at your career, you're fun, you love to be passionate and enjoy things in life, and you make sure that everything that you do is revolved around that, but you also give back. Tell us a little bit about your giving back to community and the things you're passionate about in that realm.
So when I was doing that Unleash the Power Within program at Tony Robbins, um, everything in my life up until that point, like I said, had kind of centered around me and, you know, my concerns. And then I met a lady named Joanne Crowbutt. And after the event, we continued on with Tony Robbins started Basket Brigade, which is feeding people at Thanksgiving, because when he was very poor growing up, someone delivered a basket of food to his family at Thanksgiving.
Right.
And look up the story on Google. It's such an amazing story. But Joanne's like raison d'etre, like her purpose in life, like, you know, you have your purpose, I have my law thing. Her purpose is feeding hungry people. Can you imagine someone where that's
Right.
their sole purpose in life?
Yeah.
So she was like a magnet for me. And she taught me a lot of things like humility and just the fulfillment that you could get out of helping people. So then way back then, years and years ago, I got started with the Basket Brigade, and then just 3 years ago, Joanne actually got charitable status for the Basket Brigade. So it's called um, uh, Basket Brigade Canada, and she asked me to be on the board of directors. So I was highly involved in delivering baskets and now I'm on the board of directors, and I have been for a few years, and it's so amazing. It's such an opportunity to give back. It's not a full-time job because we focus on delivering baskets at time when people are celebrating through
Right.
food, which is
Yep.
time, your Passover time, Thanksgiving time.
Hmm.
So it's not like all the time. It's not like a food bank,
Right.
which fits in well. So that's just been an incredible gift for me to be involved with Basket Brigade and a charitable organization and all the legalities that entails. I've learned so much.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's not the only thing you do. I mean, you're constantly giving back, with various different charities, and whether you're attending a gala or just sending a check or putting your time in, you're very charitable in that regard. And I love you for that. So thank you for giving back. Before we sign off with everybody, is there anything you'd like to share? Any tips or comments or important things or programs that you're working on? Or please share with us.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think I got off onto a tangent when we were talking about the law school career in law. And I said, if you want to be a lawyer, it's hard. You got to be a really good test taker. Like it's kind of weird what's happening in our society. Like we live in the most interesting and weirdest time ever. I think it's just like, I can't wait to wake up in the morning to find out like where is society heading now? Because it's like so bizarre. But the people who are like the decision makers in the world, they've had to be good test takers. They've had to be successful in a school system that's very one-dimensional.
Right.
And the people who are the 2- and 3-dimensional people, they're not being rewarded. They're not successful in society as we know it.
Right.
And so it's weird thing that like the people who are running our countries are political science majors and lawyers. And so anyways, what I'm trying to say is like, I have this bias against formal education now. And so if you want to be a lawyer, like, more power to you. But if you want to have a career in law, I truly believe that you can learn how to do that, how to have a career in law. If you have a propensity or an affinity for reading legal contracts, like here's how you know if you would be good in law. Like if you download an app and before you check that box, agree to these terms, you actually read those terms and conditions. I see
Which most people don't.
I save them because I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I want to see what they said and how they do it with this and that. Like, it's just this weird thing. But whoever's listening, you know who you are. Because if you read the fine print, and sometimes I say it, like, do you fold your underwear? Are you that detailed type of person? Like, you would be really good in law. Right. And so I think, people who become part of my team, they don't necessarily have to be a certified law clerk. Heck, I can train you in a couple of months, or maybe in senior positions, like maybe a year. Right. You don't need a formal education. It's about your experience. It's about doing it, and getting good at it and getting proficient at it, and doing it and failing and doing it and failing. So that's the one thing. If you want to follow my path and have a career in law, and a very successful career in law, because I believe you don't need that certificate anymore. You really need to be a good business person, and you need to just do it, fail, succeed, learn, do it better. Fail, learn, do it better. And anyone can do it that is interested. So that's the message that I want to leave with people is, if anyone is interested in a career in law, it's possible. Anyone can do it. I don't care who you are. You need a computer. That's really all you need. And if you don't have a computer and you want a computer and you're listening to this at a library or something, get in touch with me. I'll make sure you got a computer.
You're awesome. You're awesome. So just, and I love that. I love that advice on getting into law, and, just shows like the the vast and array and creative thinking that you have when it comes to, a topic that really is, has very strict rules about how you get into this career and how you tap into the law profession. So it's nice to see this, more down to earth, flexible.
Let the regular law firm, the way lawyers have been practicing law,
Yeah.
That's going to go the way of the dinosaur, honestly. Like now with COVID-19 and with everything becoming virtual, and we've
Right.
got electronic signings,
Yes.
and we've got remote, right now, we've got remote witnessing of the will. That can happen remotely by video conference, but that's only the state of emergency. So please, anyone listening to this who doesn't have their will done yet, we can do it by video conference, but that's for a short period of time only until the state of emergency ends, which right now that's 13th, 2020. So get on that task if you don't have your
Tell
will and
people
powers
why
of
it's
attorney.
important. Tell people why it's important to have that in place. Like, I don't think people understand, like, whatever. But why is it important to have it in place?
Yeah, so there's the will, which appoints your executor and says where your stuff's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be in control of that. You don't want to have people at your funeral looking at each other going, well, should I be the executor? I don't know. Well, what do you think they would have wanted? Like, that's kind of a fail in my opinion. And the other thing is, who does your stuff go to? A lot of people say, well, what do I care? I'm dead. But really, it's a big deal who gets your stuff. If you don't have a will, your stuff could be, the legislation says that your stuff would be divided between your spouse and your kids. That means that, like, your spouse could have to sell their home to pay out to the kids. That's messed up. And there's a lot of surprises that your family would find out if you don't have a will. So I'll say that to summarize, it's a real disaster. Then the powers of attorney, like powers of attorney for personal care. Who makes your healthcare decisions? Like, you don't want people looking at each other going, well, I don't know, like, who do you think should do it? Be in control of that kind of stuff. It's like, I just, back to the beginning about, I don't have patience now for BS. Like, put your big girl panties on, or put your big girl dress or pants on, your whatever you do, and take control of your life. And part of taking control of your life and being an adult is getting those very important documents in place. It really is.
Right.
And those reasons, and listen, if I have to sell someone on why they need a will, it's kind of like, I don't feel that that's the sale I should have to make.
Right.
The sale I have to make is why you should be doing your will with a law office and not online. And that's because online wills, you could make a ton of mistakes, and who the heck knows what those mistakes are until it's too late.
Right.
That's the sale I should be having to make, not convincing someone to get a will done. And here's the thing, everyone knows that they need a will, because I can tell, because when they're signing the will, there's like this, like, like they sleep better at night, because they knew it was one of those things you procrastinate on. But it's not like a tax return where you're going to be penalized if you don't file your tax return. It's like one of those things that there's never a deadline. The deadline is death. And for some people, the deadline is getting a terminal illness diagnosis. And then that's when I get the call. I get tons and tons and tons of those calls. Or during COVID, it's like, we got to get this in place. And I'm like, good. Now this is a catalyst for you to get it done. So that's not the sale that I have to make, Randy, like why you need to get it, because people know in the back of their mind, it's a shit show if you don't have it done. And it's an embarrassment to your family. I'm going to be frank. It really is. It shows that you were not organized in your life and you didn't care enough about your family to get it done. So
Right.
just do it. I've got the tools to do it. If you go to, if I can
Yeah,
plug this,
please,
I don't know,
please.
if you go to www.WillsandEstates.Lawyer, there's a super, super fast process for you to get your wills done. You fill out a form, it's 5 minutes, you pay, you set up your appointment. We either do a video conference or during the state of emergency,
Right.
or a drive-by signing during COVID-19, which is really cool. So it's super simple. There's I've taken the how's it going to get done? Super simple. Just do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell us the website again.
www. You don't really need the www, but anyways. Wills and Estates, so plural, Wills and Estates .Lawyer. So it's not .com, because I'm like, oh, like they now have the endings of, instead of .com, you can do .lawyer, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
So WillsandEstates.Lawyer. Or if you just Google estate planning lawyer, my name's going to come up, because I've got like, I can't tell you how many 5-star Google reviews I have, because people are really happy, because we really care about clients. And it's more than a transaction. You get this package that now you're part of the firm and you've got all this free legal advice. You can update the will 100 times. It doesn't cost you a cent. So now, like, even if you just Google estate planning lawyer, our firm's going to come up. But go to WillsandEstates.Lawyer, and you're going to get a lot of information. And there's a platform for a really easy process to get it done.
I love that. I love how you created that super easy way of helping people to make that happen. And so just quickly before we sign off, just tell people the different realms of lawyership that you deal with, because sometimes people get a little confused, like, well, what kind of lawyer do I go to for this, and what kind of lawyer? So what do you help your clients with, so that they know the topic that they can come and work with you?
Sure. I kind of had this tagline when I first started my own law firm, which was lawyer for life. So it's like kind of multi-dimensional, like it's not just transaction. It's not you're doing a real estate deal and then I never see you until you buy your next house again. No, it's like in your life, you've got all these legal things that come up. So I want to help you with those legal things. Now, it's almost easier to say, well, what don't I do? So if one of your kids has a DUI, heaven forbid, I'm knocking on wood down here. I can't help you with that. I can refer you to somebody, no problem. Or if you, have an employment law issue, I can help you to a certain extent. Like I'm a helper. I'm a legal helper is what I do. But what that kind of looks like is I help people do real estate transactions. I help people do their will and powers of attorney, of course. Now, if someone wants to set up a business, yeah, let's go. I'm like the art of the startup. Like that's the stuff that I listened to that podcast falling asleep last night. Like I love business startups, very near and dear to my heart. And so I incorporated someone yesterday. So what I do is I email them their articles of incorporation and I say a baby is born. Because like it's not like, oh, here's your articles of incorporation. Like, no, it's like, let's get excited. Like this is a baby is born. This is an opportunity to take this entity into the world and make it a success. Like I can't tell you how excited I get about stuff like that. So if you want to set up a business, if you want to buy or sell real estate, if you are one of those people who do not yet have their will package in place, or they did it 20 years ago and now the kids are grown and they need to update it, those are probably the best like triggers of where you need me in your life. But it's just like lawyer for life, like all things legal.
There's
If
one
you have
more,
a legal,
Maureen. There's one
am I
more.
missing?
Friendly divorce.
Yeah. You know what? Like, yeah, I don't even promote that, but it's probably more business coming in for that than anything else. But here's the fact. Like, people who are setting up a business, people who are doing a real estate deal, like, it's about a 50% rate that people are going to be divorcing, separating and divorcing. And that's an entire hour, Randy, that we would need of how I help people. And I'm going to be really blunt with you. How I help them is I just, first of all, smack them around about, the attitude that they need to have. They need to lose the ego and this is mine and that's mine and I get those kids. And I just smack them around a bit to say, let's start at the beginning. Let's get you some therapy so that you can, therapy, or go do the UPW course, or go do the landmark course, then come back to me and we'll talk about your divorce. Because if you don't have your head on straight, going through divorce, there's PTSD. I phrased it, well, maybe a lot of other people have, but it's like, and I don't even think I've had PTSD. So I'm just imagining like what it's like. It's like I can imagine. No, I guess I kind of had divorce PTSD. Anyways, there is a traumatic stress that you undergo when you're going through divorce, and you don't realize it at the time. You went through it, even though it was friendly. I went through it, even though it was friendly. Your head's in a fog. It's like there's this like heavy fog, and you really can't see clearly about what you should do and the decisions that need to be made.
Right.
So that's the first thing, is like, chill the heck out and just get the therapy, get the self-help. Marianne Williamson, get the self-help, take care of yourself. Another analogy I use is, you're in an airplane. There's an issue with the plane. Put your oxygen mask on first. Take a couple of deep breaths, and then we can work forward on the decisions that need to be made in your separation. How's that for like a legal, sale, a pitch for, let me file your divorce? No, man, put that oxygen mask on and then call me, because it's a son of a gun that these nasty divorces are changing kids.
Mm-hmm.
And kids go out into the world, and they're not peacemakers. They're fighters, because that's what they saw.
Right.
And now we've got those kids that are running the world, and the world, like on a large scale, I think is in a very precarious position right now. And
Right.
I think it starts in the home, and it starts in 50% of people are going to separate. And how are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And how you're going to leave your marriage says everything about you. It's like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And how you leave your marriage and the integrity with which you do that is going to be how you lead the rest of your life, and how your kids are going to go out into the world. Very important.
Absolutely.
Very important. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Maureen, for sharing with us. It's been such a privilege to have you. Mwah. Kisses to you too. It's such a privilege to have you on, and giving you a big, huge virtual hug.
Like I said, I'm on the Randy train. Because you are, and you have always been one of my idols, Randy. And what you know about digital marketing and how you made every freaking one of those books bestsellers, I've been able to take that process into my firm, and I've been able to do the Google reviews, because when
That's
we
awesome.
went through the book and how you made the book a bestseller, it's like, okay, you need the ones, the supporters, you need everybody like helping out. So I'm such a fan, Randy. Thanks for
Oh,
the opportunity
thank
to
you,
speak with
honey.
you.
Thank you. I feel the same way. And this has been such a pleasure to learn from you and hear from you today. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Stay safe. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you for listening to this interview hosted by Randy Goodman. We hope you will take action and connect with the incredible business people and leaders in our community. And remember, Randy is always here to answer any questions you have regarding your real estate needs. Be sure to register on the website and stay up to date on what's happening in your area at parkbench.com/millpond.